get into that controversy now. Not that I'm
Okay.
worried about the controversy. There is enough material in public domain. I spoke earlier.
You don't have any regrets about
I have no.
your prayer judgment.
I stand by every word I said. Kerala stands on a slightly different footing compared to other states in the country.
Yeah.
The literacy levels are high. But you go to the rural India, how many people in the rural India know about the constitution? For example, elected government believe once they get a majority, whatever they do is right, irrespective of what the constitution says. No, see, finally remember money. It's, you want to build a new court, you want to appoint a new judge, you require money. Who will give the money to judiciary?
Sir, in a recent incident, you might have noticed that B.R. Gawai, Supreme Court Chief Justice, the only second Dalit Chief Justice of India, he was attacked by a Hindu fanatic. We are actually celebrating maybe 75 years of our constitutional legacy. How long do you think the Dalits of India should wait to celebrate actual equality and independence?
Two different problems. Somebody attacking Gawai is something different. He was. It has nothing to do with his community. Well, the man who threw the chapel is certainly wrong, and he'll have to be dealt with in accordance with law. That's a different matter. But he was not. Suppose if that comment were to be made by a non-Dalit judge and somebody threw a chapel, what would happen? So they don't bring in the caste equation.
Okay.
Now, Dalits have their own problems and they have to be dealt separately. Well, it may take a long time before they get actual complete equality. Because nothing happens overnight anywhere in the country. Do you know, till 1952, colored people in US, because earlier they were called blacks, now they don't use that expression, they're called colored people. The children went to separate school, they are not allowed to go to a school where white children are studying. Beaches are separate, restaurants are separate. Even in a country like America, which we think is a great democracy, these distinctions existed. Takes time, but 1952 onward, progressively, there's a state-maintained discrimination phased out. But social discrimination is still there, I know it. See, the neighborhoods where these colored people live are different than the white settlement. Occasionally you find in a white settlement some colored gentleman, one Obama, one somebody like that. But you take them as a class. So therefore, it's not a problem peculiar to India or anything like that. It's a problem in India. But then it's basically a human problem. It takes time. So it requires constant educational thing. Education, I don't mean the degrees, the functional education. Why should a fellow human being be treated that way? Why can't we treat all human beings alike? It requires a certain degree of maturity in the individuals, in the society. And maybe, I don't know how long it will. Maybe I'll live for 10 years. What happens after that, I can't predict. It's a long process. But then, certainly, we have come some distance from what it was prior to Gandhi came to India. Slowly, step by step, a lot of things happen. That doesn't mean everything is perfect.
So you're optimistic about how things are taking shape in India?
It's bound to happen.
Yeah.
It's bound to happen for the simple reason, with the modern technology, communication system, and there are a sizable number of people in the society, they'll assert their rights, or they're already asserting, they'll continue to assert their rights. And then the political process, they're bound to succeed sometime.
Sir, actually, like people who are usually deprived of their fundamental rights, which we consider to be something which is not to be deprived at any cost. And for those people to access justice, to file a writ in High Court, to reach up to the Supreme Court where they are constitutionally eligible to reach out if they lose their fundamental rights, how far do you think it is accessible to them? Cost-wise?
First of all, you get rid of this notion that for every problem, Supreme Court has an answer. High courts are equally constitutional courts. whatever power the Supreme Court has within the limited territory of the jurisdiction of the particular High Court, High Court can do everything which the Supreme Court can do. So you don't have to go to Supreme Court for everything.
So don't you think it's too expensive for people who are deprived of their fundamental rights?
But why do you want to go to Supreme Court? Go to your local High Court. Okay, that is also expensive.
Yeah.
I do agree. But then please tell me what is the alternative. Please tell me what is somebody has to decide this question. Under the system we have accepted, we have created these constitutional courts which can enforce fundamental rights. Now, there are programs saying legal aid, things like that, which are meant for the benefit of poorer people. How successfully they are being implemented is a different question. We have to make an audit of it. So how successfully governments are running in this country.
So how happy are you about the constitutional awareness Indian people have? Especially how the way in which it is being taught in schools.
I must say, I'm not very happy. See, one thing is awareness. Everybody, and at least those articulate people who have access to media and things like that. You go to Kerala stands on a slightly different footing compared to other states in the country.
Yeah.
The literacy levels are high. But you go to the rural India, how many people in the rural India know about the Constitution and their rights, constitutional rights?
So,
Especially people coming from poorer sections,
yes.
irrespective of the caste. How many of them are aware? So for them, it simply means nothing. So, but second thing is, for those who are aware of this, they have a slightly weird understanding of the Constitution and the rights coming from the Constitution. Now, when you go to the streets, I suppose everywhere, even here, I notice in the morning, other parts of the country also, people coming on the wrong side of the road is almost become an accepted thing in this country. Well, there can't be any order without discipline. If you have fundamental right to travel whatever way you like on the road is the fundamental right, then afterwards, when there is no order, it is only chaos.
Yeah.
So therefore, the whole system, whose fault is it is a different story. I'm not on that. As it exists, your question is how satisfied you are or how happy you are. I'm not totally happy. It requires more functional education.
Yeah.
See, for example, in this country, we talk about fundamental rights, constitution. Strictly tell me how many of us get a driving license after passing a test? You know how those licenses are granted?
Fortunately, it's a bit tough in Kerala to manage
That's
one.
what I'm saying. Kerala is a slightly...
But for that reason, sir, many of my friends have taken their license from another state.
Therefore, they find ways and means
Yeah.
for that.
That usually happens. That problem is there.
See, it's a comprehensive process. Educating the people, educating is not in the sense granting them degrees and doctorates.
Yeah.
The functional education. And then enforcing the law. At the same time, handling the situation where the fundamental rights are infringed. All these things must go as a package. Nothing can... I'll tell you a hilarious example. When I was in Andhra Pradesh long back, in the Andhra Pradesh High Court, a writ petition came before me. The Golden Quadrilateral, the road connecting, that was Vajpayee period, Madras to Calcutta, Calcutta to Delhi, Delhi to Bombay, Bombay. That was under construction. That road, about 1,000 kilometers, it runs through the present Andhra Pradesh state. Even then it was Andhra Pradesh, but now it is that coastal Andhra. Madras to almost Orissa border, 1,000 kilometers roughly. There is a small village next to Vijayawada in the northern direction. There is another town called Yelur in that area, stretch, separated by 40-50 kilometers. In between there is a small village. The road passes through it. The president of the village filed a writ petition authorized by the panchayat for a resolution. What is the writ petition about? They are laying a 4-lane road. There is a median in between. I live on one side of the road and my brother lives on the other side. If I have to go to my brother's place, I have to go 2 kilometers, take a U-turn and come back. So this median is unreasonably restricting my free movement guaranteed under the fundamental rights of the Constitution. So therefore, directly government should remove the median. If that's your understanding of a constitutional governance and fundamental rights, well, it takes a long time for you. Because it's basically, one thing is people.
Yeah.
And second thing is government are people who are in positions of power. What is their understanding of the constitutional governance? For example, elected government believe once they get a majority, whatever they do is right, irrespective of what the constitution says.
So we in our country we don't have that kind of a parliamentary supremacy.
See, even in other countries also, see, the theoretical parliamentary supremacy and what practically happens is like degrees of difference are there between India and other countries. Where it's, see, remember, human beings are human beings, they are not angels, whether Indians, Americans, Russians, or black-skinned or white-skinned or any thing. Human beings are human beings. We are, each human being is capable of mischief if there is no controlling. Very few saints exist, they don't require external force. If all of us were to be angels and saints, we don't require a law to be made and police to enforce it and all those things. Basic understanding is human beings are not saints and they are very vicious people, if not more. So it's a constant process. It's an evolution. So that takes time.
Sir, actually, you were one of the judges who gave a dissent note to National Judicial Appointment Commission judgment during your time. And you were not supportive of the collegium system where the judges were selecting judges. And you called it as a euphemism for nepotism. And actually that is creating, that's a possible collapse of Indian judicial system should be avoided. That's what you have told in that sense, because mediocrity is being creeping into the system.
Let us see. History, that's what I said. When I concluded my order, I quoted Macaulay. Reform that you may preserve yourself. He made that statement in the context of the parliamentary reforms in Britain in early 19th century. I just borrowed it. And of course I added, history will only prove whether my apprehension is justified or not. I am not a astrologer to predict what is going to happen. But I gave expression to my doubts.
Sir, but do you still hold the same position? Do you believe in the possible political overriding the system?
So, gentlemen, please remember this. To believe that the elected government should have no say at all in some area of the governance, like appointment of judges, is in theory, in constitutional theory, something which I don't understand.
Okay.
Now,
so you believe it's against the spirit of the constitution?
Yes, of course. They are the elected. The same constitutional process which permitted me to become a Supreme Court judge made somebody else to become a chief minister, somebody else to become a prime minister. They were under the same constitution. Now, you think that you are the greatest and the best and they are not, is, this is, at least I don't contribute to that theory. No.
Sir, actually, how far senior most judges, a collegium formed by senior most judges, how extensive and inclusive they could be in selecting judges based on merit?
I don't want to get into that controversy now. Not that I'm worried about the controversy. There is enough material in public domain. I spoke earlier. There is no point in repeating it periodically, raking up the issues and this thing. Things certainly, I stand by every word I wrote in the NJIC dissenting judgment.
Yeah, you hold to that. Actually, there is a trend like now, Mr. D.Y. Chandrachud himself, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, he actually said he regret his earlier judgment on Ayodhya. You don't have any regrets about your prior judgment?
I stand by every word I said.
So you were the person who declared 66A of Indian IT Act to be unconstitutional. And now the social media, the so-called online media is acting as an instrument of propaganda in this country. You might be aware of that fact also. So do you think there must be some sense of control over the content which is being delivered through?
Provisions in law, as even without 66A, about somebody who's abusing his freedom of speech. See, ultimately the enforcement of law is very selective in this country. If somebody in power is offended, law will jump into action.
So the problem is not about
Not the existence
lack
of
of
law.
laws.
It is the enforcement of law.
Okay.
There are enough provisions in IPC and various other laws. Question is enforcement. When somebody in power is abused, everybody is active in prosecuting the person. Somebody in the opposition is abused, no law enforcing agency takes it seriously.
Okay.
So therefore, it is the enforcement problem, not the problem of existence of a law. And coupled with that, the lack of responsibility, sense of propriety, and respect for truth, after all, above all, everything. Do you have any respect for truth? No, you may have your views. It is said famously, facts are sacred, opinion is free. Don't distort the fact. On the facts, you may have your own opinion, whether it is logical or not, but it's for others to decide, to believe you or not. But if you start distorting the facts, of course, the whole thing is gone. But if you start distorting the facts, people complain, who will take action? Unless you are in power or you are the ruling dispensation is in your favor. So your complaint will be lying, police will take their own time, enforcement agencies will take their own time, and in the judicial system it takes long time for resolution. That's it.
Sir, in recent judgment given by Delhi High Court, it was an ex parte judgment also.
I didn't see. What is the judgment?
Actually, 60 content from different individuals like Dhruvrati to pages like portals like The Wire were asked to remove contents given against a corporate in India, a corporate business house in India. And many of them were simply news articles or simply covering of incidents. And it was given, an ex parte judgment was given, and the government unilaterally asked them to remove the content or they will be removed by the government by themselves. Don't you think there is a sense of overreach in these kind of interventions?
Seen the judgment, I can't comment without seeing the judgment.
Okay. So actually Kerala was one of those luckiest one state where we were able to have a former Chief Justice of India as our governor. So there is no explicit constitutional restriction in a Supreme Court Chief Justice holding any other positions in constitutional positions. But how far do you think it's a desirable precedent to create? Don't you think he's invalidating all his previous judgments?
Is this. I made an announcement before my retirement. I will not accept any public office after retirement. That's my stand. Obviously, I believe that is the right thing. Why should I comment about others accepting it?
Sir, in your based on your personal value system, don't you think it's not desirable?
Only because I believe it is not desirable, I made that announcement. I will not accept, and I have not accepted anything in the last 8 years. Almost the 8th year after my retirement, I have not accepted any public office.
Why do you think the constitutional framers might have exempted the judges from accepting any other post?
No, there is no prohibition under the Constitution. It's only there is no prohibition, express prohibition. Text of the Constitution doesn't prohibit. It's only a theory and a convention saying that the basic saying is.
But there is an explicit exemption for a Supreme Court justice from practicing in any court of India.
Practicing, yes.
Like, why don't you think that should be extended to other areas also?
We'll have to do it. Parliament will have to amend the Constitution to do it. And then who appoints governors?
Yeah,
it is the ruling party. Obviously, they have the majority in the Parliament. They want to do that. Why will they amend the Constitution? And it didn't happen only once in Kerala.
No.
Earlier, other judges were appointed as governors. It started much before.
Yeah, that culture is like now things are getting more obvious that there is a connection.
They have always been obvious, gentlemen. What is your one thing is this. Earlier, this internet and WhatsApp were not there. Therefore, it took a long time for India to know what is happening in the other corner. Now, there is internet and WhatsApp and all the social media. Within minutes, you know what is going on.
Yeah,
that's the only difference. Nothing is obvious. It was always like this.
So as you know, there is an inordinate delay in settling cases in India, especially civil cases are taking generations
I
for
will not
getting
answer this
settled.
question because I addressed this problem in the evening speech. I don't have the energy to repeat the whole
Okay,
thing.
like sir, actually that is an issue to be addressed. That
Of course, it is a serious issue.
sir, who must take a call in that regard at least?
See, the Parliament, the Judiciary, and the civil society. There must be a debate. Why is it happening and how to solve it? Everybody is happy blaming others. So I tell you, why is it happening? Insufficient infrastructure. In any state in the last 75 years, the budget allocation did not exceed 2% in favor of judiciary. Nobody is interested in building up the infrastructure because no government is happy with the judiciary. So since they can't remove it, they simply let it rot like this.
Do you think judiciary has anything to do about it?
No, see, finally remember money. It's, you want to build a new court, you want to appoint a new judge, you require money. Who will give the money to judiciary? Money is still under the control of the parliament or the state legislature. Only they can do it. That's also one of the reasons when I said, you see, when you're, all these things in the constitutional system are interdependent. At the same time, each one of these branches acting as a check on the other branch, so that no branch becomes absolutely powerful. When in a healthy system, well, things work well. So we are still struggling. We are still a feudal society. We have not got over it. These feudal habits. It takes some more time.
So anyway, the budgetary allocations towards the judicial system must be improved.
That's one
At
thing.
least
That's
the bare
not the only
minimum.
solution. Suppose you grant 50% of the budget. That doesn't mean overnight cases are going to be solved. It requires a planned and concerted effort and a well laid out plan to handle the problem. That requires a debate. Otherwise, how will you plan? Unless you know what is wrong and unless you know how to solve the problem, it requires a debate. Everybody talks about the delays in the court. The only thing they find is judges go on vacation. That's a very, very, very minor contribution. Well, it can be abolished. Vacations can be abolished. Let them abolish it. Why are they not doing it? They really want to do it. Because, see, but then afterwards they will not have any slogan to make. So therefore they don't do it.
How far do you think it's practical to abolish vacations?
See, it need not be abolished totally in the sense institution can run. Individual judges maybe can be made to well some 40 days, 50 days, whatever it is. Let the parliament decide. Some leave every judge.
Okay.
That's all the problem. Court will be functioning. One or two judges will be on leave at a given point of time. Others can function. And that's one possible. I'm not saying this is the only solution. That's one possible solution.
Sir, my last question, I'll wind it up with this. Based on your experience as a Supreme Court judge, how far do you think we have due process of law? And is it limiting our judicial procedures?
Come again, I didn't get your question.
We are actually constitutionally, we are supposed to follow a procedure established by law.
Right.
Unlike US or somewhere, we have a due process of law. The question of fair, equity and just do come into many cases where there is a constitutional limitation. Constitution may technically limit the judges from acting based on the principles of fair, equity and just. So do you think there is a limitation as we have not explicitly mentioned the concept of due process of law?
It is definitely by necessary implication, it flows from the Constitution that every branch must act rationally and in accordance with the law, some settled principle of law. It can't be on an ad hoc basis. It is a necessary implication of the Constitution.
Yeah, there should not be any gray area or space where the judge can exercise his interpretative
That's what I think.
wisdom.
Interpretation is a part of the judicial work. But question is, interpretation must have some basis in jurisprudential principles. Not only your office and your power of contempt to punish somebody. That can't be the sufficient justification for any thing. There must be some well-settled principle in jurisprudence.
Yeah.
No, every decision must be informed with reasons. Reasons which are logical and jurisprudentially correct.
So, have never felt that there is that sort of a limitation in India's constitutional order.
There is nothing wrong with the constitutional order. It is only in the implementation of the constitutional orders. It's the people who see couple of hundreds, 1830s, an American judge wrote a treatise on American constitutional law. The concluding paragraph, he says, and I don't remember it verbatim, a substance I'll tell you. Says, talking about the American Constitution, the structure is built. Its defenses are impregnable from without. It is durable, but it may perish in an hour of the folly of its only keepers, people. Ultimately, when people are not vigilant, no constitution, however wonderfully drafted a constitution, that can't protect you. It constant vigilance of the civil society is the only remedy for all these things. And informed vigilance, not vigilantism.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank you for your time.